Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the HR and Payroll 2.0 podcast. I'm Pete Tiliakis, and as always, I'm joined by the legendary Julie Fernandez. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Pete. Doing great today and super excited for the guest you brought. And Jeannie, can you make some introductions for us?
Yeah. I'm so excited. Our next guest is literally, I'm a fanboy. Let's just get it out of the way. I am a huge fan of this marketing executive, award-winning CMO, founder, an author, podcast host, TV host, Jeanniey Walden. I'm so excited to have you here on the show.
I'm super excited to be here and speak with both of you. This is the highlight of my week and my month.
Yeah, I hope so. I love it. I've been waiting for this. I've literally been saving all my marketing questions. As an industry analyst and advisor, I do more marketing work than I ever in a million years thought I would do. And I never imagined that this is what, my career would lead to. But it's literally been the funnest thing. And I'm out there on the front lines helping these vendors figure these things out. And I just love learning from you. So I thought, hey, let's bring you on and let's share some of this with our audience.
Yeah, so Jeannie, I'd love to get a chance to get to know you a little better. I know Pete introduced you right away with acronyms, CMO. I think you're our first CMO guest on the show, Chief Marketing Officer. But we'd love to know, how did you find your way into that as a role in a career? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got where you are.
Yeah, it was a total accident and a good one, as most accidents turn into be great opportunities to learn and then rewrite history. But I got my master's degree in teaching. I was going to be an elementary school teacher, and I got a minor in sign language. I wanted to work with autistic kids. Bachelor in psychology. Could not find a teaching job when I graduated. Got a job making $5.25 an hour at JCPenney as a call center rep. And
Wow.
luckily for my future, I'm very competitive. So I kept winning all the awards, the water bottles, the sweatshirts, for providing great customer service, for being out there. So I got a promotion to become the manager of the customer service team. And I very quickly realized that being a business leader is the exact same thing as being a teacher. It's just with people that are older. And they're all from diverse backgrounds.
Yep.
You got to break it down. You've got to communicate differently. You got to win their hearts. You got to win trust. And I'm going to fast forward past many decades into I ended up in marketing. And I ended up in marketing at the time when email started. And believe it or not, it was inbound email. It was before there was outbound.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was responsible for all of JCPenney's inbound emails, which at the beginning of the summer was about 30 a week. And at the end of the summer was about 3,000 a week. And so I got obsessed with technology that would bring content from customers closer to the business in a way that we could build relationships with them and thus drive better operations, better performance and sales. It catapulted me to working in large ad agencies and running divisions there around marketing, to having my own agency, starting a bunch of businesses, being a CMO at big companies like Barnes and Noble and Mercer, which is part of Marsh & McLennan, and just doing a Rite Aid, the most recent one, as well as some startup companies, IPO ready, unicorn, crazy, awesome startups like Zinio, which was the first in digital publishing, DailyPay, which we all know and love, and it helps so many people. And it's just been the best thing in my life. The thing that pulls the string the whole way through is everything is about what I call my AIR method, which is about authenticity, inspiration, and relatability. And it works so well. But my favorite part about being in marketing is the part that so many people don't appreciate, which is the need to market internally to your employees. And that internal marketing from an HR perspective, that is the thing that creates success in business and enables us all to have businesses that serve customers.
Yeah, amazing.
Awesome.
And I want to get into all of that, Jeannie. I have so many questions. I want to dovetail a little bit off this because, like I said, we always ask, right, about HR and payroll because that is our audience, largely a lot of practitioners, but we certainly have a lot of executives from different vendors that listen too. But like thinking back to when you went to DailyPay, obviously that was, I think, your first step, maybe except Mercer, into the HR world as a product, right, an HR product. And I think a beautiful fit, right? Your retail experience as well probably fit beautifully with the type of customer that was going to adopt your solution eventually. But tell me about that. Were you a little bit like, what am I thinking? Or because I think people underestimate HR technology as a business. There's a lot of opportunity and all of that, but it is not easy. And it's not like selling anything else.
It is not easy, but my first foray into HR technology was at Mercer with
Yeah.
their HR
Okay.
benefits platform. And the thing that took me from what am I doing and at Mercer in B2B professional services and HR technology to, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life was I was at, an event where we were sharing some results from a study that we did and it was about HR benefit platforms and why it's
Hmm.
important for HR leaders to create the right benefit package and how you have to communicate it effectively to all of your employees and why it's important. And they brought this woman in, it was probably my second week there to the event, and they said, I could stand here from Mercer and tell you about these results, but I brought uh, Mary, I don't remember her name anymore, but Mary in to talk about the results. And this woman said, uh, I was married for over 40 years. I had 4 young children. My husband worked on the line at a manufacturing plant, and we needed the money every single day, every single paycheck. We were living paycheck to paycheck. And he even went, I forced him to go to the HR team and say, can I not get benefits?
Hmm.
Can I have the money instead? I don't want whatever you're contributing to my benefits as a business, please give that to me. It will be helpful with my 4 kids. And the company continued to say no. They had this incredible
Yeah.
benefits package and they talked about the dollars. And she said, he went to work one day. He had a heart attack on the line and he unfortunately passed away. And she said, we live paycheck to paycheck. If it was not for the benefits that the company offered, my children would have not been able to give their father a proper goodbye and a funeral. The entire
Mm.
room, and I still have chills, I just got them.
Wow.
Like the entire room was teared up and the result was this is why benefits are important to you. This is why they're important to the families of the people that work for you. This is the good part about technology and benefit systems that manage all of this. And that literally changed my perspective
Yeah.
on HR technology and the critical role that it played. So when I had the opportunity to go to DailyPay and create a platform around access to your money as you earn it to take care of your family in ways that we never had the ability to do before,
Right.
it wasn't even a question. It was something that I felt was so powerful and it was such a great convergence of the 2 worlds of marketing, the brand play of marketing for the external consumers and the marketing to the internal employees to give them something that they need. And
Yeah.
it's still to this day, it's probably one of my favorite jobs that I've ever had.
Yeah. It's so personal and so emotional. It's why I say I wish more executives, senior level executives, had to spend a year in HR before they
Oh,
did other
for sure.
things. I
They would
think it would be
never
so
move
remarkable.
on. We know that,
Yeah.
Pete, from all of our
I
conversations.
know,
It just,
right?
whether it's HR or payroll, it just grabs you and sucks you in, and you
Yeah.
can't go anywhere else without and still feel fulfilled, right?
I would say you're right. Statistically speaking, Jeannie, when we ask people on the show, how did you get into HR? Why do you stay? Almost all of them fell into it, and almost all of them have stayed because of the challenges and other things. But yeah, it gets you and you never leave. But look, I think what you guys did at DailyPay, and you and your teams particularly. Do you ever reflect back on the fact? I was thinking about this recently. DailyPay as a brand, right, is a verb for what people do. It's just like
Oh
Google
my
or
God.
Uber. Have you ever
I
thought
just,
about that?
I want to break through the screen and just hug you right now. And I am calling David Schwartz and
It's the
I'm going to
ultimate.
tell him about this conversation. That was my goal.
Yeah,
We sat there with Jamie McDougall, with Jason Lee, with everybody in those early days. And we said, if we are successful, daily pay will be a verb when we are done with
it
this,
is.
just like
We
Kleenex.
will be
And
It is.
Kleenex.
so
Yeah, we will
this
create
is my
Kleenex.
whole life. I think I could
No,
retire now. This is like the best thing
I
that I've
mean,
ever heard.
no, congratulations, because it really is. It's rare air, right, for marketing and branding. And I believe it's what all marketers hope for. But there's only so many Googles and Ubers and Daily Pays that can go around. I mean, just this weekend, my daughter and I kept saying Uber and she kept saying Uber and she was using Lyft. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right, right,
there you
right.
go.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
example. Google's another one,
yeah,
right? We say Google it, and maybe I'm using whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I love it. So congrats. That's to me,
100%.
that's the ultimate.
Thank you. Thank
But
you. Thank
how
you.
do you do that today? I mean, what's going on today? Like, I feel like there's a lot. I mean, everybody's got angst in every sector, but there's so much angst right now, and I think there's a lot of angst around the change, but also around ROI. The ROI conversation is coming up more and more aggressively than it ever has. Like what's going
Yeah.
on in marketing?
What's
The hell's
going on
going
in
on?
any
Yeah.
what's going on in any part of the
Yeah.
business right now for
Yeah.
anybody, and how's everybody blaming anything that they do on AI to fix it? So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's like a whole different podcast that we can have in a whole different conversation. But it's to me, nothing is different in marketing. It's just the people that are performing marketing have forgotten some of the principles or they never learned them because they
Yeah.
got put into marketing and we're told that marketing means messages. And that is absolutely not what it means. Marketing means moments. And if
Yep.
you are not creating moments and you're not creating feelings, then you're not creating effective marketing, regardless of what the ROI is, regardless of what the ROAS, which is the return on your ad spend, is.
Hmm.
It all comes down to, I summed it up when I was at Mercer. I created the phrase AIR. It is the framework for effective marketing. So for all of your listeners and
Yep.
anybody who's doing marketing to their employees, it's AIR. If your strategy is not authentic, inspirational, and relatable, it is going to fail 100%. And that's the successes that we had at Mercer, at DailyPay, at Rite Aid, at Thrifty Ice Cream, things that I do today with, at Rakuten, things that I'm doing with Lead on, that's powered by L'Oreal.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Everything comes down to the feeling. And if you think about it, and I
Right.
tell the story whenever I talk about brand, to be an effective brand, you have to do three things. Number one, you have to emote a feeling when somebody either shows your logo or says the name of your company. So when you say Uber, people get excited because they're like, yes, fast delivery on time, whether it's
Yep.
food, whether it's groceries, whether it's my car, I'm going to be happy. Like you feel an emotion. In the way early days, when someone showed a pirate flag, you got scared. Why? Because a brand always delivers on their
Hmm.
promise. And that's the very most important thing for marketing.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, whatever company you're in, be an AI company, be a company that, sells bugs to people, you have to deliver on the promise of what your company is, and that's how it starts.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed. Yeah, and it's tough because I think with HR tech, you're absolutely selling, 100% selling it. They're not buying it. You're selling it. And it's tough. I think it's so hard. Everyone's trying to differentiate. Everyone's trying to message really well. And I think you're right. If you can align on those pains and those emotions and those value points, it seems like it's going to resonate better. So
yeah, well, everybody in all the tech, ad tech, martech,
yeah,
fintech, HR tech, the biggest mistake marketers make is they sell product features. They don't
yeah,
sell the promise of what the product is going to solve and do for their end user. So, for us at DailyPay, when I was there, it was really easy. We were going to give employees the ability to have control over their life, and just be able to do what they needed to do because they had access to their money
yeah,
as they earned it, right? We did not sell the 73 features of the product. And when you go to this screen, you click on this and you
right.
can change this. We sold the feeling and the emotion and the excitement of being able to take your child out for ice cream on a random Wednesday because they got a good grade at school
Yeah,
because you can get access to your money. The like smiles that happen on Valentine's Day when you bring home that surprise bouquet of roses because you didn't have to say, I wanted to get you something more for Valentine's Day, but payday is not until Thursday. I mean, it was, and it's that emotional piece. And
yeah,
there is not, we can like play a game. We can make a game out of this. You can bring up any HR tech platform and I can tell you within 5 seconds on how they could position it differently to
oh
sell
yeah,
more because it's all about the emotion. And it's so much fun for people on the marketing side to be able to get in and do those types of things. And then the ROI kind of goes away. But I have a crazy ROI story that I learned at DailyPay if you want
yeah.
more
I love
secrets
it.
and,
I
and
love it.
Let's
tips.
hear it. Let's hear it.
Yes.
So we were planning a big brand campaign,
Hmm.
and I had to sit with the CEO and explain why he and the CFO should approve the money that I needed for this campaign. So I came in like any marketer does, and I said, look, we're going to spend X dollars, we're going to get Y dollars in
Hmm.
return from customers and everything else. And he looked at me and he said, of course you're going to do that. Like, if you weren't going to do that, I would have fired you because that's what your job is. But how are people in this company, not
Hmm.
the outside people, how are they going to feel? How are they going to feel that it was successful? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
He
I
said,
don't know.
when you do this campaign and I walk around the halls and I go into any person's office in this company and I say, hey, what do you think about that campaign? How are they going to show me that to them, they felt like it was a success?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So, I'm always up for a challenge. As I said earlier, I'm super competitive. So I'm like, I got to figure out the answer to
Yeah.
this. So I started meeting with every exec member one on one, and I'm like, here's a campaign, here's what I'm going to do. And then I was like,
Yeah.
if it's successful, what's it going to feel like? As
How
you
does
can
that make you
imagine,
feel?
They're like,
yeah,
what
how
the
does
hell are
that
you
make you
talking
feel?
about?
Yeah, right. Well, the sales guy's like, I'm gonna feel like super overwhelmed because there's gonna be so many leads I can't even turn around. So I was like, well, that's an easy one. It
Uh-oh.
was the chief legal officer that completely blew my mind. And he thought about it for a minute and he said, you know what? I'm gonna feel relieved. And I said, "What?" Like, "You're illegal." And I said, "Because we're not gonna get sued because the campaign, I checked the IP and
Oh
everything." He's like,
my.
"No, no, no." He said, "Because if this works, the brand of the company is going to be stronger, and every contract we get is filled with red lines because, we're still an emerging brand. But as the brand gets stronger, I'm going to get less red lines. If I get less red lines, I don't have to be so stressed out and get external support to get through all these contracts. I'm going to be able to get through these contracts. I'm going to feel so relieved." And I was just like, oh my gosh. So then, like, of course, I was like,
So his
wait a
ROI is
minute.
he's already on the golf course then.
Yeah, I'm like, "Wait a minute, how much does it cost for these people?" We ended up,
Yeah.
like, calculating ROI off of his legal
His
savings
legal
on
team.
top of my because it didn't because the trust value was there. It
Yeah.
was the craziest thing I've ever seen. So, of course, campaign goes out, campaign successful, red lines almost like they're reduced significantly, and it worked. And
Oh
I was just
my.
like, "Wow." So
What a
the
visionary.
CEO, yeah, like, I mean, CEO asks the, head of legal, like, "How's it what Gene's doing all this stuff, like, how's it feel?" And he's like, "I feel great. I get to go home tonight at a reasonable hour." It was so I have also taken that with me everywhere,
Yeah.
it really ROI for a brand is very different in every part of the company, and a lot of marketers, especially in tech-related industries, do not appreciate that a marketing campaign
Hmm.
impacts every area of
Right.
a business, and it impacts so much of it that, it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah. It's very much a paradigm shift in a lot of ways, especially now, I think. But that's almost like a sales enablement story too. In a lot of
Oh,
ways,
yeah.
right? It's easing the funnel, if you will. I love that. I love
Yes.
that. But you're
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So what now nowadays, what are the boards wanting from marketing? What are they expecting, right, of the CMO?
Oh,
Is it changing?
gosh. It always changes. Boards are never happy with
Yeah.
CMOs. I think look, I think, holistically, when a company's performance is not where it should be, it's
Hmm.
very easy to blame marketing.
Yeah.
I have been in marketing long enough and been in executive roles long enough to know that marketing can always be better. You can always improve marketing, but it's never rarely only marketing's fault. On
Hmm.
occasion, maybe, but it's usually something related to the way that marketing is interacting with the rest of the organization. Are they aligned with the product marketing team in
Hmm.
the right way? Are the roadmaps aligned? Are they communicating their initiatives and launching them internally so the employees appreciate what they're doing and understand it and feel valued and can share that effectively and communicate it effectively or not?
Hmm.
So, what boards are looking for today from marketers is answers to how marketing can be used to improve the bottom line in a more holistic manner. And now that we
Hmm.
have AI, it changes the game for everything.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've been testing out AI every way humanly possible. From
Yes.
using it, with my TV show, we do the majority of show prep with AI, but after a conversation that I had just earlier this week, I'm now going to start using AI backwards because I was blown away. I met a company that is using AI not to give answers, but to prompt and ask questions.
Yes.
I've
Yes. I
seen your
saw your
posts on that
yes.
Yeah,
recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And I was just, it
Yeah.
was just wow, because I fight with AI. I mean, I have, there's this little tool that I use that has an AI team of 6 people, and I use that for my
Yeah.
advisory work and business. The AI bot Eva, who checks my email, she's amazing. She answers all my email for me. Like, she's incredible. And that is a scary statement for anybody that's trying to prospect through marketing emails,
Hmm.
because that day is come and gone. It's got to be a new way to connect. But when I'm doing my prompt engineering, I battle some days, as we all
Yeah.
do. With you
Yeah.
get stuck in those loops and everything. But then I was like, wow, this new technique that I learned to use AI backwards is amazing, because now it's asking you the questions and you're giving it the answers, and then it's just helping structure your thought. And it's
Yeah.
so much better than you trying to like pull out of AI what the
Yeah.
answer is when you know what you want it to say. But I think a lot of boards, a lot of executives are expecting marketing teams to do significantly more by leveraging AI technology as an enhancement value. And
Yeah.
they absolutely should be, because there needs to be critical players in marketing still needs to be strategic thought leadership. There still needs to be, compliance and, privacy and just fact checking. There still needs to be creative strategy and design, but a lot of the day to day can be automated in the same ways that we automated payroll,
Right.
and it helped
Yeah.
us in the same ways that we automated driving cars instead of horse and buggies. But
Yeah.
what's cool about that is it's opening up new ways for marketing to explore and connect, just like the tourism industry started when we shifted to cars from horse and buggy. So
Right.
it's a great, like, it's the verge of a new world for
Yeah.
marketing, which is really exciting.
Agreed. Yeah, I love that experimentation. I think more people are coming around to that understanding. I know I have more recently that, and I think you were saying it, is that you need to look at AI as a teammate and not just a tool. And I think there's a lot of value in using it to, I still personally have trust issues with allowing AI to necessarily, I'll ask it things that I want to kind of summarize or whatever, but I'm not exactly there yet with handing off my work. And I worry, and I want to get into your experiment with AI, because I've seen you posting some things about, maybe having a team of just AI for 30 days. I
Yeah.
want to talk about that. But how do you maintain your authenticity and all that? Because your AIR method is rooted in authenticity. It's
Yeah.
literally what everything I do is rooted in. It's what the show is, the fiber of the show is authenticity.
Yeah.
How do we maintain that with AI? And how do you not dilute and lose your true self in that?
Well, I mean, I think it starts with realizing that you can't just let AI do everything for
Yeah.
you. You have to enable it to do parts of what you do more
Hmm.
efficiently. So it removes the inefficiency. It removes the things that we spend our time on that you don't have to spend your time on anymore. And
Right.
what I love about it for the three of us and our age bracket is um, we all grew up having to do things the hard way. You
Yeah.
had to learn to build a business model. You had to learn to write a business case. It was really hard. I mean, when I was back in college and
You
we
had to
had
buy
to
a
do
book.
you had to buy a book. Like, it was really, really hard. Now, AI can do all those things for you, but like you said, Pete, if you let it, you have to check the work, and it's
Yeah.
never right. Like,
Oh,
it's
huge.
nowhere
Yeah.
near the point where it can do that stuff for you. It scares me a little bit for younger generations that enter the workforce and think they can just let AI do
Yeah.
something, because, I've told it to go and build a business case for me or a business model for something that I'm working on. And, it'll come back with something that looks good at first glance. And then you dig into the numbers and you're like, thank God I know how to do this,
Yeah.
because it's completely wrong. But,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me, with authenticity, and even I'll talk about my little AI team too,
Yes.
it is a lot of training. So
Yeah.
ChatGPT just, opened up this new thing, and I like ChatGPT. There's every system under the world. You have to love the ones that you use. I use a couple of them, but it just allowed you to connect your Google Drive to it.
Hmm.
And when it can go through your Google Drive, and for the other tool that I
Hmm.
use that goes through my emails, It actually goes through your history of things
Yeah.
that you've built and it starts to recreate your authenticity. But I'm always training it. I'm always
Yeah.
training it. You
Yeah.
will, even if a post is written by AI from me, you can guarantee that I've highly
Yeah.
edited it to make sure that it doesn't, because, robots say like there are certain catchphrases. Anytime that something starts with but or let's be honest or this is
Yeah.
like, there are certain
It's
phrases
not
you're
the way
like,
we talk.
oh, sure, that's
Yeah.
not the way we talk. Yeah, that's not the way
Yeah.
we talk. But the thing that really opened my eyes to it was I saw this post from a random person. I don't know them. And they said, I'm a native AI CMO. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what even is that?
What is that?
And you only need to hire me and I will only use AI. And I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. And I'm like, but maybe that's the future and I need to know how
Yeah.
to do this. So I saw this ad on Instagram that I could hire a team of 6 AI people for $150 for the year.
Wow.
And I would have a person who answers my emails, a person who writes me legal documents, easy ones, not actual hardcore ones,
Hmm.
a receptionist, a sales guy who will generate leads for my advisory and consulting work, a social media person, and a blog and SEO expert. And I'm like, well, that sounds great to
$150.
me because I have no time to do like most of that. And so that's what I've been posting about. I've been trying it for a
Yeah.
month. And I got to tell you, like Eva that answers my emails, she does a insanely amazing job of sounding exactly like me. The only thing
Wow.
about her is I have not trained her on how to look at my calendar effectively. So
Uh-oh.
if you email me right now and be like, hey, do you want to talk Friday at 4? There's a high likelihood I don't let her respond, she puts them all in drafts, that she's gonna be like, "Hey, no, Pete, but how's Saturday at 3 a.m.?"
Oh
And
my
I'm
God.
like, "Okay, like, that's not gonna work." But the rest of the messages
Oh
really
God.
do sound like me,
Yeah.
and I've talked to other people that use Copilot. This is, when you put the time in, you get the time out, so it is totally worth it. It is totally
Yeah.
worth it.
As an HR person, that just makes me think how potentially sad it is that we're sparking this generation that's going to put immense amounts of time into
And trust.
training and learning Copilot or some other tool. And have we really done that in the past with our own teams, with our own, as managers and leaders of folks? I just feel like, wow,
I
like
know.
it's it's sad if I start to do that, and I think, then have I put even half this much energy into my team? And if the right answer doesn't spit out, then that tells me something about myself as a leader, right? That I should really pay
You know,
attention to.
I think that is an amazingly brilliant blog post right there, Julie. Like, I mean, seriously, are you putting as much time into training your team as you do to your AI technology? Like, it's
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
because literally AI technology does not work without it. One of the people you get in this little tool, and if anybody wants it, they could just message me and I'll give them the link to it. But it is a sales guy. Right. He will reach out to leads every day for you and he creates sequences and stuff, but you have to tell him who to reach out to. Otherwise, he just
Yeah.
sits there and emails me or messages me every day and says, like, hey, you ready to get started yet? But I think that's like such a super key point.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to, and I apologize, I don't remember his name. He's a very famous, very forward-thinking technologist, and I think he has a marketing agency or does some sort of marketing work. And he was explaining how they're way ahead. This company, his team, and he was explaining about how he and his team have gone about it. And one of the ways was the first thing that they did was he said, "Look, we document everything that we do in our company." We have a documentation for any and every step of everything there is that we process or put out or whatever. So he said we have excellent source documentation, and we gave access to the AI to that.
Yeah.
Then we gave access. He said we went a step further, and not only did we give it to the documentation, we gave it profile reports, even down to the business chemistry writings, all of that for all of our executives and all the people that are producing content. And then multiple other layers like that. And his point is that the contextual, to your point, the contextual understanding of you as a writer, as a thinker, as a whatever, is more likely to come through if the AI has been trained entirely on all of that, but also understands the procedures and policies and what they should
Yeah.
and should be doing. So I thought that was really, really interesting because I think there's a lot more. To me, that's a ready, aim, fire approach. Whereas I think most people are going with a ready, fire, aim. You know what I mean? They're just
Oh,
jumping right
100%.
in, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's not working. Well, it's not going
Yeah,
to work because you didn't train the teammate. You know what I mean?
exactly. It really does. I mean, success with AI
Yeah.
really does come down to training. And there is a movie that I just watched. It's a documentary about general AI, the
Yeah.
scary one where like the robots can think on their own and start acting the team. It goes through how many years, and I want to say it starts in like 2006 and it ends in like 2023. It takes years to train
Yeah.
these AI engines and teams on like what it is they need to know, and they have to gather such a mass amounts of data from so many places that in order, but then once it kicks in, their ability to learn like far exceeds our brain's ability to learn and consume
Yeah.
all that content and everything. But it is something that a lot of companies, especially in HR, need to consider and think about and plan for as just their overall AI training process. And it's funny because one of the points of this documentary, they talked about companies that are not investing in a slow ramp training program for AI
Hmm.
are never going to be able to keep up with the companies that do that in
Yeah.
about 3 years from now. So,
Right. Right. Man, if that, right? It's the speed of this is just
yeah,
intense, intense.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
Jeannie, one of the things I want to just ask you kind of as an offshoot to that is like, I feel like in a lot of ways that HR leaders and payroll leaders and others back office leaders are becoming marketers in some ways because they've got to be ambassadors of change now, right? Change agents, and they've got to be trying to sell people on doing things differently. How do you, any advice for folks that are not marketing minds, but need to kind of have that diplomacy, have to play that kind of role of sort of bridging people from the past to the future with things they might not want to necessarily do or feel scared about, right? And
yeah.
positioning, hey, a new tech or whatever,
Look, I think for many HR leaders, they've been marketers all along and just didn't realize it. I mean,
right?
think about
Yeah.
whenever you're hiring
Yeah.
people, all of those talent, all of the
Yeah.
talent teams have had to market their company. I can't tell you how many times companies have called me and said, I need help trying to hire, this type of group of people. And it's typically because the brand of the company does
Hmm.
not match or it's not appealing to the type of person that the company's trying to hire. And there's a big gap there that the HR teams are having to fill in order to successfully get the candidates to keep the
Yeah.
company moving. So there's a part of HR and back office that's always been secretly marketing and just probably
Right.
haven't given themselves credit for it. But for the rest of the back office teams, people in payroll, people on the tech side of the house that are now having to kind of step up and create visibility and accountability and look at getting a seat at the table for learning how to market their elements internally. That is a whole new world that these people probably are not comfortable with doing or know how to do. And I think it's a big opportunity for the industry
Yeah.
to open up ways and basic success classes to master classes, things like that, to be able to give them the tools that they need to start to have those conversations. The cool thing is AI is out there that can, help package some of
Yeah.
that up and act as a proving ground for sharing some strategies that have worked in certain companies. I heard this man talk a few weeks ago about the fact that, Chat GPT was
Hmm.
and many AI engines were using Reddit as their
Yeah.
education, which kind of, Reddit, Glassdoor, Quora, all those
Uh-oh.
places that make people freak
Yeah.
out and give them like heebie-jeebies when you think about what people are actually saying. But he said, nobody ever thinks about going to those places and actually just asking AI to do some research
Yeah.
on what are people in these jobs, categories, roles complaining about and how are people handling it. And wouldn't you know, the answers are all sitting there in the
Right.
community chats that we just, don't have manually the time to crawl through. So
Yeah.
as a great first step, I would say go into Chat GPT and type in a prompt that said, you're a researcher trying to answer the question of how do I get my company to listen to me on this? Or how do I, start
Yes.
to do this? Start and tell it, search Reddit, search Glassdoor, search every community place you can and find me real phrases and testimonials of things that have worked. And it's a starting ground. It's not the
Yeah.
answer by any means, but it starts to give you perspective and ideas that you never considered before.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It
love that
reminds me
advice.
of the stories that we're seeing, coming out of some of the LinkedIn articles on younger generations and how they're entering emails to see, like, should I be worried about the tone my manager's of this thing that my manager sent? I mean, like, just even that human perception and trying to understand what there is behind that, so that
Yeah.
you can position yourself to be effective at responding is
Yeah.
a thing out there, is becoming a whole area of information and intel.
It is. It is. And I think it's acting as much as just like reassurance and visibility as anything else. But I will tell you, so I work with this one company that's got a higher education program for beauty professionals. And they've been around for a number of years, and it's this amazing program for anybody in that space that's looking to build their career. But I went to Reddit and or I went to ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, go into Reddit and find out, like, what are beauty professionals unhappy about? What are they saying about higher education? Would they do it? Would they not do it? What are the drawbacks? Like, give me some real feedback. What are people that have been in the beauty space for a long time giving as advice to people just starting in the space?" And it's, like, mind-blowing and game-changing when you see what actual people type. It brings me back to the very early days of email, so for anybody
Yeah.
who's old enough to remember the image, the little meme of a dog on a computer that would say, "On the internet, no one knows you're a dog," and he's typing it. Like, because in the early days of email when it was inbound, you could literally it
Yeah.
when you wanna go into a JCPenney, for example, and complain to a manager face to face, it is scary. Even if you're mad and they're wrong, it is still scary to be
Right.
confrontational. When you can send an email to somebody and you let your heart out, you're like, "And another thing, and take this, and take that." That's what happens on these community chats. And
Yeah.
now we have access to pulling that all together thanks to AI of just to grab all those insights out and give us the raw and filtered
Yeah.
feelings. And that's cool. Like that is
It is.
significantly
It's like a
helpful, I think.
crowdsourced research right from the users.
1000%.
So, Jeannie, I mean, otherwise, like, how's it going? Do you think you'll continue using any cautions that so far, other than, maybe the crazy emails about your schedule?
Yeah. No. So many cautions. AI is definitely not a replacement for anything.
Yeah.
It is a replacement for inefficiency. That's it. Right
Yeah.
now, the AI of today is nothing more than a support tool that will power your existing teams. Nothing, especially in marketing, nothing replaces authenticity. Nothing replaces inspiration. Nothing replaces relatability. I tell people all the time, AI will only do what you tell it. And if you're like, I wrote this one post where I got so mad because I told AI to write something, um, and it wrote it, and I was like, I totally disagree with you, and it was like, oh yes, you're right, and it rewrote the opposite perspective, and I'm like,
Yeah.
way
This is
too
bad. Yeah.
easy. This is not how we want it to go down. Like, I know some
uh,
people want yes men, and they're like, but nobody wants a yes AI system because that's not going to help us. So it never gets to the root of it, but it is super great in speeding up research and
yeah.
uncovering insights and in, like I said, reverse engineering AI to give you questions that you should be asking your team when you go into a meeting, that you should be using for a brainstorm, that you should consider when you're writing something instead of giving you the answers. I think it's and it will continue to improve over
Yeah.
time. I think it's a destroyed B2B demand gen. I think
Yeah. Let's
when
turn it all into spam.
my well, it's turned it all into spam. And when
Yeah.
my little Eva bot can send a message to your little Eva bot and the two of them are having
Yeah. Right.
conversations, when am I, Jeannie, ever gonna establish trust with you, Pete, and you, Julie,
Yeah.
if our AI bots are just talking to each other and we
Right.
never see it? So I do think that it is bringing back face-to-face communications.
Yeah.
It's bringing back conversation, and it's bringing back a lot of the personal connections that we all kind of lost a little bit during COVID,
Hmm.
which is amazing in my opinion.
I
And
agree.
and I think that it's much needed. And hopefully, along with schools banning cell phones during the class day, like hopefully the generations,
I
understand there
wish.
is a
Yeah.
place for technology, and then there is a place for human connection.
Yeah.
And you know, I just think for marketing, I see events coming back.
Hmm. They are
I
growing
see
for sure.
one businesses. Well, I mean, one of the things. So we've got Lift Off the lifestyle business show that
Yeah.
runs and it's great and everything else. But my biggest demand right now are Martech, AdTech, FinTech, HR tech companies calling me and saying, "I want you to create a show for me where I can bring my prospects on and you talk to us
Yeah.
in a roundtable setting where we can all talk to each other, because at the very least I can walk out and say, wow, Julie and I now know so much about each other. She might not buy from me today, but I built a relationship instead of relying on all the
Yeah.
technology." And
I
I
love
think
that.
that's so cool. I love that too. I
Yeah.
think it's really cool.
Everything I do is predicated on relationships. Even this episode, like, or any of the episodes on the show, is purely based on relationships. We don't bring just anyone on. And I think it's important. I've always been that way. And I feel like I've set myself up really well for this world because everything I do is real and authentic. But what I worry about, like, how do we make sure, how do companies protect the human sides of their brand? Going back to our beginning, right? Like with the emotion and all that. Like, how do we protect all that, to your point, so that we don't have just Eva to Eva talking to each other and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are like relatable and
Yeah.
real,
Well, I
right?
mean, first of all, it's a commitment that the business has to make. And I'll tell you, and I think, the rise of the creators of,
Hmm.
micro influencers and
Yeah.
creators, even though you see them on TikTok and Instagram, they're at least real humans, right?
Yeah.
So I saw this funny AI influencer, meaning it was an AI bot acting as an influencer, talking to me about face cream. And literally an AI bot is, I use this every night and my wrinkles have gone away. And I'm
Right?
like, you're you don't exist.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
I don't trust this company at all
Yeah.
right now because they're not real people. So I think when there's a commitment to include real people
Hmm.
in it building a company's brand, that's the first step
Yeah.
that like sets you off on the right track for sure. And that means your employees too. And that's, one of my big things, and we did this at DailyPay and I did it at Rite Aid, is, I insisted that when we were taping things, we used real people. I don't even want to hire an actor.
Yeah.
I don't want to use, like
Right.
sometimes you have to use Getty images and things like that. But I don't even want to use stock photos because I like to use real people, and because that helps with the authenticity. So I think that's one of the things that brands can do to make sure they own it. But the second thing is being super relatable. And
Yeah.
again, for all tech companies, this is where they fall down. And Julie said it at the beginning, like, you introduced me as being an exec CMO that works with, this and that, blah, 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 with all these
Yeah.
acronyms.
Man.
And that is not relatable to anybody,
No.
like, I mean, like that doesn't know what a CMO is
I know. Yeah.
because
Yeah. Well, I said marketing executive first, just so.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you did. But like a CMO could be a chief medical
That's
officer,
right.
it
That's
could be
right.
a chief mom officer,
Yeah.
like so many things. But so being relatable
Yes.
and
Yeah.
figuring out your brand's voice and who your buyers are and
Yeah.
speaking in their voice is the second thing. I think that, and a lot of people don't test that. They come up with a campaign and they're
Yeah.
like, based on our there's a website, it's called the Marketing BS Generator.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. You go to this website, it's all three words, and it just creates lines of buzzwords for you
Oh my.
randomly. But it's so funny because then you're like, "Oh my god, I just heard that in a pitch."
It
Like,
sounds like
like
Yeah.
sounds like what my husband does to me at the end of each day, just because he's heard me in the
Yeah.
background, and I'm like, just stop."
Imagine being an industry analyst, all the garbage, the Marcoms that we wade
oh
through,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
try to tell
Yeah.
people like stop with the first and only, and
Yeah,
world
Exactly.
class and all this stuff.
truly
Yeah,
global. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jeannie, I could continue asking you things for hours. I love it. I appreciate you so much. I want to wrap this up, like, really, and kind of maybe give some advice, right? Like for emerging brands or brands maybe that are kind of struggling or whatever case might be. What do you think should be their focus right now as far as getting ready to future proof their marketing and their brand and go forward here into 2026? Like, any advice to just sort of broadly that you would give?
I would ask them to step back and evaluate how trusted their brand is by their buyers.
Mhm.
And if their buyers do not trust the brand, then they need to do a whole lot of work really quickly. I think, AI is just another efficiency tool. Just like when Excel came out and we stopped using Lotus 123, it was just another tool.
Yep.
When payroll systems automated payroll, it was just another tool. So, don't give up the fundamentals of the brand for AI. Will help you with efficiency, but it's establishing trust that matters. And to do that for companies that need to, if they need to, the way I do it is really simple. What are you trying to accomplish in 2026? What's your setup look like to get you there right now? So where's your gap? All right. How do we have to close this gap? Is it a big gap, a little gap? Let's size the market. What is this market's number one concern? Somebody else said this, not me, but they said nobody ever buys a solution to their third or fourth problem.
Mm,
Everyone buys a solution to their number one problem. And it's
right.
like a brilliant message for any marketer who's looking at positioning their marketing message in market. You might say, like, yes, and, I've got seamless integration with all these APIs, and I'm SOC 2 certified and I'm compliant. But what is the problem the company is trying to solve? And how does the number one problem, and how does your company solve that problem for them? So think about that and figure out how to solve that problem and establish trust at the same time, and you'll become unstoppable.
Yeah, I love it. I saw something the other day that said you're only as your how does it go? You're only as good. Your brand is only as good as your customer's last best experience, or something. Or you're competing with
Oh,
your
oh yeah,
customer's last best
exactly.
experience.
Yep.
Is that you think that's still true? I mean,
Yeah.
we shift our
100%.
focus as fast as we we get happy and mad.
Yeah, that's why you've got to have the trust because loyalty is not there. People want
Yeah,
speed and efficiency over it. I mean, people will be loyal when they're having a great experience. So,
yeah,
think about the Uber example. You're going to be loyal to Uber until they don't show up at the critical time that you need them, and then I guarantee you're going to be on a Lyft,
right.
you're going to be in a Waymo, you're going to be doing something else. It doesn't matter, no matter whether you've been a loyal Uber
Yeah.
only rider for the last 27 years. They
Yeah, it's
messed
so
up
easy to
and
switch now to different things. You
yeah,
get mad with one, you can go to another app. But yeah, sorry, it's you're competing
you're
with your
competing.
customer's last best experience. Yeah,
You're
that's what I
yeah,
heard. So
and it happens with all the tech industries too. Everybody screws things up. Every company has mistakes with their B2B client base. Everything goes wrong. Everything has little bumps in the road. That's where the client services team comes in. When you have that success team, that client services team that can own up to it and say, "Oh, oops, but let's work on this together." That's
yeah,
the experience that they remember. But that experience comes from that trust that you built and the one to one personal communications and not some
right.
random bot messaging you saying, oh, sorry.
Agreed. Agreed. That customer experience
Yeah.
is so key now, more than ever, I think, really.
Yeah.
So Jeannie, look,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, and I'd love to ask you, how about the TV show? How is Liftoff going? When's
Oh
it
my gosh.
coming back?
The TV show is going awesome.
Yeah.
In the last 3 years, it has grown from distribution in 3 cities to national distribution on 3 cable networks, and it reaches 80 million households in a month.
Well, it reaches mine. I
It's
watch it on
it's
Saturday
so
mornings.
like a
It
thank
does.
you.
Yeah.
It streams all over the place, which I've come to
I
learn
love
means
it.
nothing unless you're looking for the streaming episode or you just happen to be like doom scrolling or something and
Yeah.
find it. So it's critical, but we are having so much fun with it. We bring on really inspirational C-suite executives. We bring on some sort of celebrity, and then we bring on
Rock
lifestyle
stars. You've had
people.
rock stars on
Yeah,
there.
we've had rock stars on.
Authors, everything.
We've got authors. Kevin O'Leary's been on. We've had Mandy
Yeah.
Moore on. We've had Taylor Dane sings. Like I love the singers. If I could get anybody on the show, I had Dee Schneider on. We did a
Yeah. That's
1980s
cool.
hair flip, 1990s hair flip. I would love to get Brett Michael on because I just think he's a cool guy.
Uh,
He is a marketing example in himself because he has been relevant for 4 decades, and he's a great guy,
yeah.
and just hearing his story of how he's been able to shift and maintain relevancy, I think is a great inspirational
Yeah.
story, and, he seems like a fun guy, but,
Yes.
there's all that stuff, but then like I said, I'm doing these spotlight episodes for businesses that are looking to make
Yeah.
better connections, and that is so much fun too because Remember the teacher in me? When those light bulb
I
moments
know.
come off and you've got, some HR company that's typically seen as a vendor sitting with a CHRO that normally would never talk to them unless they think they're being sold to. And they're having
Yeah.
this like hardcore conversation about, the future, and they just build friendships out of that. And like, this is the best thing in the world. So, yeah.
I've said this before, but I feel like every stage or every stop in my career, I got a degree in something, right? I feel like I got one at Deloitte, I got one at Disney. I learned a lot about branding at Disney. But I
1,000%.
feel like from these interviews, and I imagine that's kind of what you're saying, is like you learn so much so fast from these conversations. It's really, really impressive. And I think this is really kind of the future of learning, right? We're all kind of getting our knowledge now from YouTube and various different micro moments. So you got great
Yeah.
content, great guests. I love it, Jeannie.
Well,
What
thank you.
about
Thank you. Thank you.
where else can folks get in touch with you? I know I have your LinkedIn, I've got your X, I've got your Liftoff. Where else can we get
Oh my God. Well, according to Google's dark web search, apparently my data has been sold everywhere. So I'm pretty sure you can just, you
Yeah.
can find me. You can find me
Yes.
everywhere. Yeah. So it's Jeanniey.Walden at liftoffcompany.com, or just LinkedIn is the easiest. Send me a message. Don't just connect with me because like I like to see the messages there. But also apparently my mobile phone is out there everywhere too. So text me too. That's fine. Don't text me to pitch me, please. Like do that over some other some other channel. But yeah, no,
Something that
seriously,
Eva can take care of.
it's something that Eva can take care of. But anybody, if you want access to the little AI tool that I'm using, I'm happy to share that information, or any other case studies or information. Go to YouTube, type in Liftoff with Jeanniey Walden if you want to see any of the past interviews. I would tell you, like, my favorite thing is when someone approaches me that I do not know, so it's not my like cousin or something, and says, "Oh my God, I saw that episode and it changed my life." And we had this man, and I probably like I say his name so much he probably like hates my guts, but his name is Ray, and he's from the Small Business Loan Association, and he came on and he did a segment and said, like, if you're looking for a great place to invest your money outside of the market, you should look at buying service companies, because there's all these people that
Yeah.
have electricity companies, they're plumbers, they're
Oh, wow.
electricians, they're air conditioner maintenance people, they run hair salons, and they're older and they just want to retire, and their kids do not want to take over the business.
Oh,
So they
my.
want to sell their business at about 1x of revenue. But they've got this book of business, and with just a little TLC, it can be worth so much more. So he's like, look, you can get a 7% loan.
Oh, my
You
God.
can buy a book of business and you can turn it into something else. No lie, this woman comes up to me at an airport in Dallas and was like, oh my God, can I tell you something? And I'm like, oh, what is this about?
You're
She's
good.
like, I watch your TV show. And so first I'm like, you do? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's
That's
amazing.
cool.
And so she's like, I have to tell you, I saw that episode. And she's like, so my husband and I, we took some money. She's like, we bought an air conditioning company and we bought a plumbing company.
Oh,
They're in
my.
Dallas. It was when that crazy weather happened.
Yeah.
She's like, we now both quit our jobs and we now own 10
Oh,
small
my
businesses.
goodness.
We put them together as regional business. It's the best thing we ever did in our life. So like, I love it when
Wow.
guests say things about how to do smarter things and people do it and they run with it and it changes their life.
That's so cool. No, it's a very inspirational show. It's so positive, and you have such great
Thank
guests.
you.
I've loved it. I've watched it more than a few times. I drug my wife into it. I'm like, hey, this is my friend Jeannie. You gotta watch this. So I love it. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. If you know any beauty professionals, the November issue is
Okay.
the one to watch
All
for
right. We'll
people
get.
that are looking for a beauty career, for sure.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jeannie, thank you so much for coming on. We'll share all of the links, and yeah, I really appreciate you, sharing your insights. And I would encourage everyone that's interested in marketing, follow Jeannie, or just business. She's wonderful to learn from. And thank you, Jeannie, so much for sharing with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It was so great to speak with you again and so great to meet you, Julie.
Likewise.
Take care, everyone.